Good day, everyone, especially to our professor, Sir John Vincent Basahul, to the board of panelists. We are the Group 10, the Apple Company Incorporated. So let's start with Dorothy Binsurto, Cruz Dave Justin, Cruz Vijay, De La Roca Anjo, Santos Gio Von Alic. And the last but not the least, me is John Philip R. De Loyola.
So without further ado, let's start our case study analysis.
Of the Apple Company Incorporated. So next slide po. So the first part of our case study analysis is the executive summary, which is the company background. So Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, through college dropouts with a mission to transform how people saw computers created by Apple Computers Incorporated. So may dalawang tao, which is the dalawang tao nag-aaral pa ng kolehiyo, which is nag-drop out sila ng kanilang pag-aaral. Kasi they have a mission to transform the computers of the Apple Computers Incorporated. Kung paano nakikita ng tao yung isang computer, which is noong April 1, 1976. So computers needed to be made small enough for people to use them in their homes or workplace, according to Jobs and Wozniak. So, in that case, nag-isip sila ng kanilang strategy on how they build a computers or appliances or the phone or the etc. na kayang dalhin. We can hand carry rather, or in the workplace na kaya natin dalhin sa bahay, kaya natin dalhin sa pinagtatrabuhan natin, which is according to Jobs and Wozniak. The iPhone, iPad, and Macintosh computers are developed by Apple Computer Incorporated, an American maker of computers and consumers devices. So, they create the iPhone, iPad, which is, alam naman natin, we're popular about iPhone, iPad, and the Macintosh computer, which is the Macintosh computer, which is the laptop ng iPhone. So, we're developed by Apple Computer Incorporated. So, after that, wait. Apple is among the biggest firm in the world. So with a market cap of $2 trillion. Kung iisipin nyo guys, when we convert into Philippine money, when it comes about $2 million is all about 109.09. So, kung iisipin nyo, napakalaki ng kanilang market cap sa Apple Computer Incorporated. So after that, leaving Jobs and Wozniak as the company of principal founders, on December 12, 1980, Apple went public at the price of 22%. The stock has split per share rather. So kung isipin nyo again guys, 22 convert natin sa Philippine money, which is 1,200.03. So ayun yung naging share ng bawat what do you call this partnership na bringing share ay wait lang. 22 per share. Yun naging yung share nila is 1,200. Kung isipin nyo, paano nila napalaki ng $2 trillion yung kanilang market cap, di ba? Kung isipin nyo yung share nila, 1, 2, like, how they do that? Like a spectacular strategy, di ba? So after that, on a split adjusted basis, the IPO share price was 0.39 because the stock has split four times since the IPO. So what do you mean about IPO? The initial public offering. So when it comes initial public offering is when a private first is a company ownership into transitioning from private ownership into public ownership. So for a reason, baka siguro hindi niya na kaya na yung pera niya na kunin niya na lang yung ano niya, baka hindi na kaya mag-improve Which is, iisip nyo, di ba, $2 trillion yung laki ng market cap nila. So, parang si Wayne, nag-decide siya na, no, ay, kailangan ko nang mag-back out or mag-umalis dito, mag-left sa aming samahan, which is, di ba, sila mga stakeholders. So, wala, umalis na siya, which is yung IPO na tinatawag nila. So, after that, Tim Cook replaced Steve Jobs as the Apple Incorporated CEO for the time being. So siguro sa galing ni Steve Jobs sa pagiging employee or rather o kung anong part niya sa kanilang company, Tim Cook decided to be that Steve Jobs to be CEO in their company. So Apple Incorporated is a multinational technology corporation based in the United States that develops or produces personal computers, smartphones, tablets, computer peripherals, and software. Kung iisipin nyo, di ba guys, napakalaki ng pagiging part ng Apple Incorporated sa buong mundo kung paano nakakatulong sa atin lahat, which is how helpful naman sa atin when it comes to gadgets, computers, and smartphones and tablets. Napakalaki na ambag niya. Which is ganun dinadevelop, ganun naging multinational technology or naging corporation yung kanilang company. So after that, Ronald Wayne, Steve Wozniak, and Steve Jobs founded it in 1975 in Cupertino, California in the United States. So malilocate natin yung company nila in California in the United States, which is before when we come to pass back tayo sa company profile natin, which is pabilog yung kanilang company na makikita mo ng forest, doon nagsimula sa Cupertino, United States. Pa-next po ng slides. So the second part again, the company background of the executive summary. The company initial item was the Apple I, a hand-built personal computer by Steve Wozniak. So, kung isipin, ayun yung iPhone dati, yan yung pinakamaliit. Yun yung pinang-una nilang nagawa na iPhone na hand-build, na kayang dalhin kahit saan, which is, totoo naman, na kita man natin, na use na natin yung ganyang iPhone na gawa ni Steve Wozniak, which is napaka-helpful sa ating mga tao in around the world. So the corporation was known as Apple Computer Incorporated for the first 30 years of its existence. So in 30 years of existence, ang tawag pa sa dating iPhone is Apple, sa kanilang company rather, the Apple Computer Incorporated. But in 2007, it deleted the word computer. Because bakit nga nila dinilit yung computer? Because dati, when way back again, dati is computer lang yung kaya nilang, what they call this, kaya nilang i-produce, yung kaya nilang ilabas na appliances or gadgets. Kaya tinawag nilang Apple Computer Incorporated. But now, Apple's currently, they use Apple Company Incorporated. So it's going entry into the consumer electronic sectors. So, napag-decide na lahat, parang, hindi naman po ba ito ganyan, di ba? Hindi na, under survey na, hindi naman computer lahat ng pinoproduce ng Apple, which is meron ng mga gadgets na kaya natin hand-build, mga iPhone, mga Pro Max, etc. na kayang dalhin ng mga tao. So, Apple is currently the most valuable firm in the world and largest revenue-generating information technology company. So, di ba, napaka-laki ng Apple, which is pinaka-tinatangkilik, mas vinavalued na kampanya. Kasi nga naman, di ba, hindi natin mai-imagine na how hindi natin i-value yung isang company na napakasikat, na napakakilala, napaka-useful at napaka-quality ng product. So, the corporation had over 500 stores around the world as of 2021. So, kung isipin nyo guys, back of 2023, 2 years ago, in 2021, they have a 500 stores. Napakalaki ng kumpanya ng Apple. So, kung iisipin nyo yun, paano ba kaya yung kita nila? Paano pa kayo lumalaki kung isipin nyo dati, through $2 trillion lang yung kinikita, what's more pa kaya, di ba? So, in the outlets naman, they have, including 271. Though, lahat kami mga outlets lang yan, they become a stores pa rin. Kasi makikita outlets, parts pa rin ng iPhone yan, ng company, was in the United States. Pero yun, kung United States lang yun, Paano pa kaya kung around the world? So napakalaki ng company ng Apple. So after that, they employed 154,000 employee. So iisipin niyo yun guys, 154 million. Napakalaki ng Apple company. So napakarami na natutulungan ng company here around the world. So next po ng slide. Okay, the next reporter po, which is Binsur Todorot. Thank you guys.
So, good day. For the next slide is findings. Apple company uses demographic segmentation to serve the target market, which consists of middle class and upper class consumers who are willing to spend more for goods than offer a standing user experience. So, in findings, the Apple brand slogan making technology so simple that everyone can be part of the future is used in the case study. So most importantly, Steve Jobs insisted that they adopt a consumer first mentally as they transform leading technology advancement into consumer accessible. So technology contributing to the widespread perception that Apple is a pioneer in innovation. And then even there, rather, retail locations are driven by the Apple brand strategy. So questions about the technology are answered by the Genius Bar. They let customers experience with their products. So salespeople at Apple are instructed to avoid using geek speak. So next slide, please. Then the next slide is demographic factor. So in this slide, the demographic are used by governments and corporation and also non-government. So demographic trends are also important as the size of the different demographic groups will change over time as a result of economic, cultural, and political circumstances. So the number one is income level and employment. If that someone is an ordinary laborer, he would have not enough money to buy an Apple product. Then the second one is the race. And this the Apple product can be suitable to all women and men. They can use this product to communicate each other and can save time if they were in a hurry for a document. So the third is age. So age is not an issue towards Apple product, but one must be careful not to play it so often because it contains a chemical ray and it might be harmful to our health. So next slide, please. So segmentation, in this segmentation, segmentation involves dividing population into groups according to certain characteristics. So market segments needs to be measurable, accessible, sustainable, and actionable in order to be used for making purposes. So the next one is targeting. So Apple's target market consists of middle class and upper class consumers willing to spend more on goods than offer an outstanding user experience. So in targeting selected segments, this stage involves identifying segments that are most attractive for the business. In other words, targeting implies choosing specific groups identified as a result of segmentation to sell products. So the multinational technology company positions itself as a premium brand offering products and services with advanced function and capabilities for additional costs. So next slide. So the last slide positioning. So the Apple company has positioned itself over time as a high-end goods and services provider. So positioning refers to the selections of the marketing mix that is the most sustainable for the target customer segment. So it is the final process where companies attempt to associate their products and services with needs and wants of selected customer segments. So Apple targets its customer segment by tailoring products, services, and overall business approach to appeal to the members of segment to a maximum extent. So next slide, please. Ayan. So next reporter.
Hi, my name is Gio Von Alec M. Santos. Good day, sir, and everyone. And I'm gonna discuss about the political of Apple Incorporated. The political external issues mostly present opportunities in Apple's remote or macro environment. This PESTEL analytical model component shows how much influence governments and related entities have over enterprises. The following are some of the main political variable affecting Apple problem. The first one is Apple had the lowest score in 2019 for tax avoidance tactics that were likely to be implemented by ethical consumer for tax evasion strategies that were most likely to be used in 2019. Apple received the lowest score from ethical consumer. Apple Incorporated had companies in countries recognized as tax havens like Singapore, Netherlands, and Ireland. Um, the second one is improving pre-trade policies. Uh, the stable politics in developed countries. So the meaning of this is to be more specific, the considerable profits generated in America is essential on the grounds that Apple's incredible performance in its homes market of the US. As the US smartphone market, Apple has the largest share of the market, while international sales account for burgeoning proportion of Apple's overall revenue. The US continuously contains more than 40 percentage of its net sales. Additionally, there are quantitative Apple stores in the US with extremely high concentration, various smart technology devices, and numerous computers, including iPhones, iPads, iMac, and more, and will be displayed and sold in their chain of retail stores. So the third one is trade disputes, especially between the U.S. and China threats. Uh, in more developed Asian countries such as China or Japan, may high-tech products have also appeared in recent years, such as South Korea's. Meron silang sa iba't ibang Asia is ang mas provided nilang phone is Samsung, kasi nga mas better daw yung Samsung kaysa daw sa iPhone, which is yung iPhone is mas nag-upgrade ng mas maganda. So hindi ko naman sinasabing mas pangit yung Samsung. Kumbaga mas people's choice yung pinipili ng ng tao yung Apple. So the tax payments, Apple is the largest taxpayer in the world, paying over $35 billion in corporate income taxes in the last 3 years. Apple pays taxes in every country where we sell our products. When a customer buys an Apple product outside the United States, the profit is first taxed in country where the sale takes places. Then Apple pays taxes to Ireland, where Apple sales and distribution activity executed by some of the 6,000 employees working there. And additional tax is then also due in the US when the earnings are repatriated. Next slide. The next slide po is next reporter. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is BJ Setching Cruz. Let's proceed to economic factors. There is a wide range of economic factors that affect Apple directly as well as indirectly. These include overall macroeconomic climate in the market, inflation rate and interest rate, as well as foreign currency exchange rates. The first one is rising costs. Apple faces increasing costs from global logistics and rising employee salaries, as well the possibility that consumers will put off their iPhone upgrade. China's shutdowns this year tied to COVID-19 and other challenges could result in an $8 billion revenue hit. Another rising cost is related to the silicon shortage driven by China's COVID-19 lockdowns during the first half of the year, and an overall dearth of less advanced chips needed to complete its products. Cook said, however, that some components are getting expensive. Apple may also be facing increased labor costs. The company is lifting pay for its corporate and retail employees in response to market condition after some rivals, including Amazon, Google, and Microsoft challenge, made changes to their compensation earlier this year in a bid to attract and retain top tech talent. The second factor is inflation rate. The company is also affected by increasing rate of inflation in the US due to its large amount of cash reserves. Interestingly, in the past one of many Apple investors, hedge fund billionaire David Nenhorn has attempted to sue the company to force payment of dividends of $137 billion so that negative impact of inflation could be addressed. The third one is possible slowing sales, but increased costs are not the worst scenario for Apple. The bigger risk is if inflation and other macroeconomic conditions end up hurting demand for Apple's product. Traditionally, during a recession or in the face of decreasing purchasing power, consumers put off a purchases of durable goods including electronics, economies, and etc. In Apple's case, this could mean that consumers who bought phone 2 or 3 years ago might decide not to upgrade to the newest model this year and put the expense off until economic conditions are better. The fourth one is doesn't have an excellent training. While we may find ourselves in an economic downturn at the moment, it doesn't really change that much when it comes to the IT skills gap we are seeing. One that is expected to linger until the end of the decade. And the last one is competition in the industry. Despite its dominance in the space of mobile devices and computing, the company does face some key challenges. Among these weaknesses are its highly priced products, entering area of higher competition, and incompatibility with other software. Next slide, please.
This is Giovanni Alec M. Santos. I'm going to discuss the part 4 of our case study, which is the solution of the political factors. The first one is Apple denied the charge, but the company justification fell short of convincing ethical consumer to remove the mark. So ethical issues can have a significant impact on a company brand's image, consumer, and employees. The several ethical issues of Apple Incorporated mentioned above reflect on how the corporation follows ethical principles set in its business conducts and keep it with its standards of social responsibility. And despite declaring its honesty, respect, confidentiality, compliance, and commitment to society, Apple does not entirely accomplish its promises. Nevertheless, the company does not seem to suffer the consequences. The second one is over time, better overall free trade free trade policies are developed, which is the Apple Incorporated is a multinational corporation headquarters in the US. The entry strategy for Apple Incorporated is primarily and extensively focused on importing and exporting its products. So global yun. And all Apple products are designed in the US, but manufacturing is held in 10 different countries, including Mongolia, China, Korea, and Taiwan. The company then imports back these products into the US or export them to various countries around the world. The third one is the potential for Apple Incorporated to expand the distribution of its product around the world is increased by this external strategic aspect. So Apple Incorporated structure developing and expand cloud infrastructure could maximize the profitability of the business in offering cloud computing services. In relation, the external strategic factor of increasing technological integration presents the opportunity to enhance the company services and grow the business by offering its technological goods and services to more customers, including organization. The fourth one is identifies the political stability of industrialized nation as a chance for Apple to expand, taking into account how little political issues affect this nation commercial operation. This one is the significant success that Apple has had in the market over the years has been partly attributed to globalization. So it has used the phenomenon to carve a competitive edge over its rivals. China, where more than half of Apple's products are manufactured, boasts of low cost and disciplined labor force. Apple has taken most of its manufacturing operation overseas to improve efficiency and reduce costs. And the last one is one significant political element impacting Apple is the payment of taxes. The multinational technology corporation employs intricate legal strategies to minimize its tax obligation across the board, particularly in the US and Ireland. So by doing so, uh, Apple paid 50 euros in taxes for every million euros in profit during 2014. So nagbabayad daw sila ng uh, 50 50 euros. Kumbaga nagano sila nagbibigay sila ng taxes dun sa Ireland. So as a part of its ruling, Europe demanded that Ireland recoup 10 years worth back of taxes, some 13 billion euros or about 14.5 billion plus interest. So nagbibigay yung Apple company or Apple Incorporated sa Ireland ng 13 billion euros or 14 humigot kumulang siya ng nag-estimate siya ng 14.5 billion dollars. Tapos meron pang kasamang interest. And that's all. Next reporter, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is BJ Setching Cruz. Here are the 5 solutions of economic factors. The first one is rising costs. Apple does not manufacture the iPhone but it manages its supply chain to keep production costs low. Because of the device's popularity, Apple forces its suppliers to keep costs low while also maintaining privacy over their devices. Second one is inflation rate. Apple has not raised iPhone prices in the United States, but it regularly adjusts pricing around the world in response to currency fluctuation. Apple has changed its its product pricing structure for its full slate of new devices for several years. And the third one, possible slowing sales. The company partners with different prominent websites to advertise and market Apple items. Plus, the company personal selling in the form of Apple Store, employees who offer product-specific information in the aim of encouraging stores visitors to make a purchase. As more and more as more people are turning towards internet these days, hence the firm could improve its website and its associated elements. Its website and its associated elements, Apple Incorporated could also invest a lot in dealing with the customers through online platforms. So, gumagamit sila ng online platforms para sa advertisement para mas marami silang mabenta. This will both improve the customer base and even the brand image of the company. The fourth one is doesn't have an excellent training. To address this issue, Apple announced it has updated its certification and training for IT pros and management who are working with Apple products. That includes two specific courses being added online. Apple device support and Apple deployment and management. For such trainees, Apple created fantastic training. A well-trained team reduces work and boosts production. Establish a training program for staff members that includes both initial training to help them catch up, plus ongoing training to help them stay to date. The lastly is competition in industry. When other PC manufacturers like IBM began to pose a serious threat to Apple, it was still selling Macintosh computers. Later, Apple made the decision to go from the PC sector to the mobile industry. Pumasok nga sila sa mobile industry. So, despite the popularity of iTunes, Apple Incorporated has had tense relations with content providers. These businesses are vehemently opposed to Apple Incorporated dominance of the digital music market and its fixed price system. Next reporter, please. Thank you po.
So hi, so I'm the next reporter again. So we are here at sociological factor, the solution. So what becomes about solution? So first is that Apple Incorporated has a chance to increase its revenue because of the growing popularity of the mobile access. So after that, um they they plan to increase their revenue. The revenue which is the company or the organization pinalaki nila because Apple is in growing popularity, nakikilala na ng buong mundo, right? So they have a mobile access to recall this to have to increase their revenue, to wide their revenue in this world. So another fact, so number two, another social cultural trend that gives Apple opportunities to sell more its product because of increased demand is the growing resilience on digital technology. So after that, the sociological trend, Apple have opportunity to sell their more products because of how it's demandable, kung paano siya nagiging demand, which is paano siya nabibili, paano siya kilala, its very popularity, how the Apple company popular. So they have they call this edge na gumawa pa ng product ng mas more, ng mas mag-grow ng kanilang product, which is now how popular Apple nowadays. So number three is concern about Apple business practices are growing, including the company legal actions against independent repair shops that fix items like the iPhone and the MacBook. So after that, they have what it calls the Apple anti-sentiments. Before that's the problem of Apple. The solution is this: they have a business practices are growing, so including the legal action. They are after that they will discuss about the legal actions of Apple on how they fix the items because they do have independent repair. Because yes, aminin natin, hindi naman lahat ng products or gadgets are perfect. Kaya minsan may nasisira, minsan may mga balita nga, may nagkakaroon sila ng problem na pumuputok yung kanilang cellphone ay yung gadgets, the iPhone. Minsan nga, nag-shutdown na lang siya, hindi na siya nag-turn on. Kaya nagkakaroon sila ng problem, which is nagkaroon sila ng independent repair, which is yun yung shop nila para ma-fix kung ano yung problema ng iPhone nila, which is na-solutionan naman ng Apple company. So after that, during that safety, I was given and there was health safety. After that, the number 4 was in a problem of social cultural, which is sociological, which is nagkaroon sila doon ng peer communication, the unsafety circumstances, may circumstances na naging unsafe, tapos tungkol sa problem nila, which is the overpay, hindi nagkakaroon ng bayad. So ngayon, after that time, nagkaroon ng safety, nabigay yung safety nila, and what do you call this, nagkaroon ng health safety ang bawat isa. Nagkaroon ng good communication ang bawat employee ng Apple company. And the last but not the least is the following an examination into human rights violation at Apple. So after that, na nagkaroon ng reklamo ang mga employees sa company, nagkaroon ng examination ang I don't know, is NBI or what, nagkaroon ng examination kaya nabigyan sila ng human rights na-implement ng Apple, which is nagkaroon na ng magandang we have the LP workplace rather. So after that, Apple is now is very popular of their protocols and rules and regulation. Next po. Okay, the next reporter. Thank you.
So my name is Anjo De La Roca, and I'm the next reporter for Technological. So first is solution for Apple Store. Solution for Apple Store is check your network connection. If your app store is blank, you'd better check your network connection and make sure you have a connection connected your phone, iPhone, iPad, or iPod to Wi-Fi network or cellular network. Even if you get your e-device under Wi-Fi or cellular connection, you can't download app successfully if the network is unstable. You can also reconnect to network to have a try, and also reopen App Store or double click the home button, swipe left or right to find App Store and slide it up. And for number 2 is solution for Siri. Not all iPhones are compatible with Hey Siri or an iPhone 6s of later Hey Siri works even when the iPhone is not charging. That means if you have an iPhone model released in 2015 or later, you are good to go. These iPhones have low power always on microphones that listen for the Hey Siri hot word and jump to action when you say those words. Next is solution to Apple cutting edge phone, where we are thrilled to be able to offer this new service to alumni and friends of the university all over the world, said Vice President for University Relations Lee Hinkel. At the touch of a button on their smartphones, they can stay informed about the exciting research and activities happening at Florida State. So the last one is solution for Apple ecosystem. Ay, solution for Apple ecosystem. Fortunately, there is a solution to some of the limitation of the Apple ecosystem, and that multi-device chargers, multi-device multi-device chargers can reduce the clutter Apple users accumulate and make easier to switch to other products lines if you decide to leave the Apple ecosystem. So the last one is solution for Apple charging. If it's still not charging, try a second cable power adapter if you have one end or a different outlet. Check the lightning port for build-up or debris. Use a magnifying glass or another iPhone camera. If you need help seeing inside the port, if you need to see the lint, debris, or etc., be careful removing it as the charging pins can be damaged, and also gently using a plastic dental pick can defect. So that's all for technological. Thank you. Next slide po.
So, good day again. In environmental naman, basically yung kanina is na-explain ko naman na yung naging solution sa climate change, yung sa mga naging issue ng Apple Incorporation when it comes sa environmental is yun nga yung sa climate change, attitudes towards and support for renewable energy, recycling, waste management, and in the consumer goods sector, and also sa innovating packaging to reduce footprint. So, dun sa climate change, at Apple, we're dedicated to contributing to the battle against climate change. So, explain ko na lang din po yung sa climate change since hindi ko siya nabanggit kanina. So, sa climate change naman, sa environment, the Apple Incorporation has a climate change issues. Apple gross emissions, including dito yung sa carbon offset, so came to 23.2 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. So about 70% of these emissions originated from the producer of what at the time was regarded as Apple's newest and best goods. So innovation and at scale are needed to achieve these goals, such as creating, executing new technologies, mobilizing, creating finance, and quickly deploying renewable energy source. So also Apple has issues these Apple's issued 3 green bonds since 2016 with projects showcasing how the investment can reduce global emissions and bring clean power to communities around the world. As a part of this work, Apple is purchasing direct carbon-free aluminum following a major advancement in smelting technology to reduce emissions. So, next slide, please. And next reporter na po tayo.
Good day, everyone. I am Dave Justin Cruz again, and I will be discussing the legal factors of Apple Incorporated. The first one, a new bill being proposed will give the U.S. government greater power to prevent emerge, and potentially penalize companies like Apple for antitrust practices at up to 30% of the income generated from the actions. So Apple, Facebook, and Google have been the target of the Senate Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee in the recent antitrust investigations. According to the protocol, the Competition and Antitrust Law Enforcement Reform Act of 2021 offers sweeping reforms to antitrust law, but we are not as extreme as some have expected. Other legislators have called for other extreme actions. From the second one, at Apple and throughout our supply chain, we prohibit harassment, discrimination, violence, and retaliation of any kind, and we have zero tolerance for violations motivated by any form of prejudice or bigotry. Apple require our employees to be trained annually on Apple's business conduct policy, um, which reflects our commitment to respect human rights and conduct our business ethically, honestly, and in compliance with applicable laws and regulations. For the third one, Apple's trademarks, service marks, trade names, and trade dress are valuable assets. So in the following, these guidelines are you can help us protect our valuable trademarks rights and strengthen our corporate and identities. For the fourth one, Apple Inc. is committed to protecting the environment, health, and safety of our employees, contractors, and customers in the design, research, manufacture, distribution, and use of our products and services in the global communities where we operate. Um, Apple recognized that by integrating sound management practices into all aspects of our business, we can offer techno- technological, innovative products and services while conserving and enhancing resources for future generations. And lastly, Apple uses a technology called data protection to protect data stored in flash storage on the devices that feature an Apple SoC such as iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and a Mac with Apple Silicon. So with this data protection, a device can respond to common events such as incoming phone calls while at the same time providing a high level of encryption for user data. Next slide po, please. So for our conclusion, we therefore conclude that the most interesting about Apple is how they are very innovative and early adopters. Apple usually the first company to come out with a new product line before anyone else. The Apple company has found a unique niche in the technological world by being flexible enough in its management practices to foster creativity and innovation. So, a culture that seeks to disassociate itself from our authoritarian leadership has emerged as a result of this. So the enormous earnings that Apple company makes have allowed it to continue existing and improve its services and goods. Um, they are therefore more competitive than other businesses in the information technology sector. This is very risky, but it seems to be working to Apple's advantage. This shows that taking risks can sometimes make or break you, and Apple has great potential and has a lot to improve. The Apple company has worked hard to build a brand that is known not only in the United States but around the world as well as Africa and Asia. Are expecting new market expansion. The Apple company's weaknesses have provided a constant source of research into profitable strategies and people in the last least developed countries and the environment will benefit as well. So for the next slides, may I call on Anjo de la Roca for discussing the strength of our SWOT analysis in our Apple Incorporated. Thank you.
So, hindi. Ito naglolo ko yung akin. So, my name is Anjo De La Roca and I am going to report about recommendation and strength. So, ano ba ang innovative products unique design? Siyempre, sa pagkakaroon ng innovation sa product and nagiging unique na design na parang almost every year na lang yung iPhone ay naglalabas ng bagong evolve na bagong pagkaka-evolve ng iPhone like iPhone 6 next year may iPhone 7 na ulit, iPhone 8 ganon. And yung next is mystery around products. Yung masusurprise ka na lang sa factor ng mga features ng bawat product ng iPhone, yung creativeness, yung quality, yung kung kumbaga masasatisfy ka bilhin talaga. Unlike sa mga Androids na mababa lang talaga yung specs, unlike sa iPhone. So, creative and experience. Paggawa ng experience sa mismong device talagang tinatangkilik ng marami yung ano nung iPhone na wala sa Android. Yung smooth, yung hindi siya pang katulad ng sa Android and etc. Global reach and brand of choice. Kasi yung iPhone pang worldwide maabot ng US, Canada, o kahit sa Israel, maging Israel, meron din ito. Iba't ibang bansa. Unlike sa Android naman although meron din sa ibang bansa, pero ganun nga, mas mataas yung quality ng iPhone, kaya mas tinatangkilik ito. Last is technological excellence. Yung technological excellence, yung aspect ng Apple, maganda ang pagkakagawa. Yung hindi malag, pwede siya sa mga pang-gaming, mahal nga lang, and yun, maganda siyang gamitin para sa mga nag-adventures talaga at mga yung features nito. So the next reporter is
Okay, I'm the next reporter. The weaknesses of recommendation. So, what I can recommend to the Apple when it comes to weaknesses nila, which is kahinaan ng Apple, which is hindi naman masasabi natin weakness, which is nakikita natin masyadong hindi maganda na ng Apple, which is dapat kailangan nilang ma-improve or mababaan, ganun. So, we start natin siya, guys. First is limited distribution of network. So, what do you mean limited distribution of network? So, I recommend that, kasi ito yun because of their success, Apple does not feel the need to have excessive spending towards advertisement in comparison of the big brands such as the P&G, Pepsi, Verizon, and the Coca-Cola. Sa sobrang siguro sa success nila, totoo naman sa sobrang success nila, they don't need about makipag-collaborate sa mga ibang brand kung i-advertise na kanilang or pag-promote ng kanilang product, which is ayun yung kahinaan nila. Bakit hindi nila gawin much better kung mayroon silang advertisement and promotion para mas maganda, mas makilala ng which is kilala naman talaga ng buong bansa, buong mundo rather. Dapat kailangan pa rin nila na makipag-collaborate to have a better organization ito sa mundo natin. So next is lack of compatibility or accessories. When it comes of that compatibility, which is yon, when the customers buy an Apple product, they enter the Apple universe. So, totoo naman, di ba? Pag when you buy something, a product, hindi naman sabihin kahit Apple, other product, which is the other gadget, Samsung, whatever, matatawag ka ng user of iPhone, user ka ng Apple. So here, when it comes to compatibility with the software, Apple product does not have support other software or technology making it incompatible with other devices. Totoo naman, di ba? Minsan madamot ang Apple, which is sa ibang di sila makapagpasa sa mga ibang Android. When it comes to Android, kailangan mo yun ka pang gagawin na kailangan ng Apple minsan mag-download pa siya ng product ng share it para mapasa yung mga files into the Android, which is pwede naman sa other, minsan pwede naman Bluetooth to Bluetooth lang, which is sa iPhone minsan hindi pwedeng ganon kasi the quality of your files hindi siya maganon kaganda, which is ayun yung pinaka-packet nung weaknesses ng isang iPhone company, which is incompatibility of their other software. Next is price point. Totoo naman tong price point, napaka-high price nila, which is I recommend that when it comes to high price products, they considered luxury due to their premium prices. The product are priced for middle and high income consumers. Low income consumers can simplify afford Apple product. Totoo yun, which is the weakness nila yon. That hindi naman masasabi sa buong mundo, yung kung sino pa yung mayaman, sila pa yung nakakabili ng iPhone, ng pinakamahal na gadget, which is mga low-income consumers, mga, sabihin natin mga poor or mga hindi nila kayang bilhin, which is nasa Android lang sila because of the high price of the product of their quality. Kasi di natin matatanggi na napaka-quality ng product nila. Kaya high price yung product nila, which is yun yung weakness nila. Dapat masyadong babaan yung price ng product nila. Next is the the unfair business practice. Wait lang, guys. Practice which comes Apple's rapidly expanding such as the video content streaming, game streaming, payment services, competing with the dominant players such as Netflix, Disney, and case PayPal. So in this here, nagkakaroon ng unfair business practice, which is masyado na sobrang kompetensya nila. Minsan sinasapawan na nila minsan yung mga Netflix, yung Disney. Ngayon may Disney na may Disney na nagaganap. So doon nagkakaroon ng problem, which is kailangan nilang dapat, minsan naman, huwag porket sabihin nating successful ka na, dapat ilugar mo din yung sarili, which is dapat be contented of what you've done about your company. Dapat bigyan mo naman yung panahon yung mga iba, right? So about last, integrate stronger parental control software. So yan, wait lang. Integrate stronger parental, which is control software. Parents allegate that Apple's parental control software isn't good enough. Is that true because popular apps such as the Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, etc. are integrated with the independent control system, which is makes technological nightmare to monitor the track children's social media activity. Although Apple's people boasted parental controls such as best kids easily find numerous way by bypass the those control, which is yun, magkakaroon dapat ng parental, which is minsan, di ba yung Apple, mayroon siya advertisement sa mga Instagram pag may mga bata, which is hindi na pwedeng makita ng mga ibang bata na nakikita nila because of their walang control yung software nila. Yun yung naging weakness ng ibang Apple product. So next slides po. Okay, the next reporter po. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gio Alec. It's me again. Okay, let's talk about the opportunities of Apple Incorporated. The first one is brand loyalty. So pag sinabi natin brand loyalty is kung ano yung tinatangkilik ng mga tao. Like ngayon is mas tinatangkilik ng mga tao ngayon sa mga gadget is Apple. So ano nga ba ang Apple? Kasi ang Apple kasi is napakagandang gadget niyan. Parang hindi mo masasabing people choice, kumbaga ang masasabi mo na lang na talagang gusto talaga nila yung brand Apple kasi bukod sa maganda, mahal nga lang pero napakaganda naman niya, 'di ba? So yung brand loyalty kasi is parang ano siya yung isang customer is gustong-gusto niyang bilhin tong Apple na to matagal na. So nung nabili niya tong Apple, mas na-satisfy siya kasi maganda yung Apple, parang kumbaga yung like yung iPhone 14, maraming naghahangad doon. So pag nabibili nila yung nabili nila yung product na latest, mas naiengganyo sila na mas bumili pa ulit. Kumbaga dito na ako magi-stay, kumbaga loyal, 'di ba? Kumbaga loyal ka sa brand na 'yon. So yung the second one is addition to product line. So yung addition to product line is nag-add ka ng panibagong product dun sa nag-add ka ng bagong product dun sa produkto na tinayo mo, like 'di ba yung Apple is nagdagdag siya ng iPad, ng iMac, ng AirPods. So habang nagdadagdag sila ng product, mas lumalaki yung kita ng Apple. Mas maraming tumatangkilik ng mga customer, and mas maraming tao na naiengganyo na bilhin yung Apple product kasi is maganda yung quality, and kahit na mahal siya, maganda yung kumbaga maganda yung product na na binili mo. Also, the third one is partnership and acquisition. Apple has acquired 108 companies, including 19 in the last 5 years. A total of 6 acquisitions came from private equity firms. It has also divested 2 assets. Apple's largest acquisition to date was in 2014 when it acquired Beats Electronics for $3.3 billion. So yung yung partnership and acquisition, nag-include daw siya ng 19 last 5 years. So parang yung Beats kasi sa US or sa ibang country, sikat yung Beats na na electronics. So nag-partnership sila. Kaya merong sa Apple meron ka makikita na Beats Electronics. So ayun lang yung pwedeng magkaroon dun sa Apple Store, like sa ibang bansa. So sa ibang bansa kasi mas pinipili nila yung Beats Electronics kaysa sa ibang ibang ang Beats Electronics kasi is more on earphone, speaker, headset. So mas pinipili nila yung kasi parang mas compatible silang dalawa ng Apple. So technology has driven novel advance in AI chips, and the company runs new technological innovation on the products. For example, the A13 Bionic chipset understands the world around them using AI algorithms. So sa Apple kasi is kailangan niya ng AI chips para mas maging maganda yung para mas maging maganda yung quality ng brand ng Apple, like sa mga iPhone, simula iPhone 6 hanggang iPhone 14. So may mga AI chips sila na mga nilalagay doon, kaya smooth yung paggawa sa iPhone. So smooth yung lahat ng apps or anything else. The last one is expanding into chip manufacturing. In fact, it means Apple will be expanding. So nag-expand daw yung Apple its relationship with TSMC, which already produces chips for the iPhone maker. When the Taiwanese giant's US factory opens in 2024, the move is the most significant one from Apple in more than a decade. So yun, ang opportunities daw ng ito yung opportunities ng mga iPhone. And a little additional lang about sa iPhone. Ang iPhone kasi is the best brand sa lahat ng bagay. So alam natin na kalaban niya are ang Samsung. So ang Samsung is mas naglalabas siya ng mga product na parang kumbaga higitan silang dalawa eh. Pero people's choice, hindi niya kayang higitan si Apple. Kasi yung Apple mas maganda yung hindi ko masasabi mas papakit yung quality ng Samsung. Mas marami kasing gusto yung quality ng Apple, and mas pinipili nila yun. And yeah, yun lang. So thank you. Next reporter po.
Good day, everyone. It's me again, BG Setching Cruz. Here are the 5 threats of Apple Incorporated. And this is a last slide of our case study analysis. The first one is market capture by competition. The entire business and ecology surrounding smartphones are evolving, creating new opportunities for rivals to enter the market. It appears to be roughly 74.30% to 24 based only on a comparison of market share between Android and iOS smartphones. Share respectively 79%. This might also be a result of the involvement of numerous brands in the open source Android smartphone development. The second one is coronavirus outbreak. The majority of businesses rely on China for their manufacturing and supply chain setup. Unfortunately, the unique viral pandemic has succeeded to reduce Apple's annual revenues by much to 20% through April 2020, particularly in nations like China, Italy, South Korea, and the United States. Second, increased prices for the goods may result from the tax hike on imports from China. This is in turn makes products more expensive for customers and negatively impacts for gross profits. A combo is a destructive blow when the first threat is taken to account. Yun nga na nagkaroon tayo ng COVID-19 na pinagmulan sa China. So malaking factory din sa China. Although sa buong mundo naman apektado, kaya pati yung sales ng Apple nawala, no? And the third one is lawsuits. Apple is actively defending itself against numerous lawsuits. The major reason consumer open this is because their own CPU speeds have been throttled. Recent reports state that Apple will fork up $18 million to resolve a claim that it slowed down or disable nila yung FaceTime sa mga lumang cellphone, ganun. And the fourth, increasing competition and market share. Although Apple has built a strong brand, it still faces competition, which is good sa business, no? Kasi mas nag-grow yung technology ng bawat isa. Companies like Samsung, Dell, and other brand na competitors ng Apple. The difference between Android and Apple consumer can be seen in the number of Android users, no? Sa dami ng Android users at Apple users. Ganyan. And the last one is increasing competition. Yun nga, nasabi ko kanina na yung competition is good siya sa business dahil nag-grow nga yung technology, mas nai-improve. Kumbaga ganun. Apple still faces threats from rivals despite that the fact that its brand has become more established. With the development of technology, companies like Dell, Google, and Samsung are posing a serious threat to Apple. That's all of our report. Good day and thank you.
May picture muna tayo.